Hello, so today we're going to be doing the inboard brakes. So I'm going to try to change the pads and also the rotors. So I've already started working on my Citroen, so the wheels are off and they're currently being cleaned up and restored. But yeah, today we're going to be starting the brake pad job. Alright, so I just got all my Citroen parts. And yep, so front brake discs, parking brake pads, these are for the rear brake cylinders, rubber kits, oil filter, spare brake cylinder which I'll need because mine's leaking, rotors, rear gaiters, these don't last very long unfortunately, and just the oil filter gasket and the water pump gasket. I already took the bumper blades off earlier and I'm just taking off the bonnet and the front guard. Now the front guard is just 2 bolts here and these wires in the front and a few wires in the front here as well. And the bonnet was a bit strange, but it was just a couple of nuts and bolts on here. I've now removed the battery tray because I'm going to repaint it, and I've removed the radiator as well, which I'm also going to replace with a second-hand one because my one's looking pretty rusty. So we have a clear view of the brake pads now and the rotor, but I'm still not 100% sure how we're going to get to it. Worst case scenario, I'll have to take out the gearbox. I've almost to the brakes now, so there they are. Just probably a few bolts and then they're out. So the support for the gearbox has been removed. Here it is. And I've also removed the rear trays. So I've got the parts over here. So I've removed that rear tray, which has a little bit of rust which I'll need to be repairing. And also this tray, which is not very clean. So there was a slow LHM leak somewhere, which I'll have to figure out where it's come from. So yep, a little bit more work and then these brake calipers are coming off. Right, first caliper off. Alright, so as you can see I've made a bit of progress. A real massive job. I'm just taking out the last brake rotor now and the parking brake pads. Now unfortunately I had to take the steering wheel off to get to these last bolts that hold in the parking brake caliper, so that was a real mission to get to. There might be an easier way to get to it, but I'm not sure. And yep, there's the 2 brake calipers and that side's all done. These drive shaft parts, you're able to pull them out if you undo 2 screws on the face of the drive shaft. So yeah, my next step is cleaning up all these tools, or once I remove this rotor, cleaning up all this tools on the ground and degreasing and water blasting this whole area, because it looks like there's probably a slow leak somewhere with the engine oil for the engine, and everything's really greasy and dirty. I ended up taking off this fender, which I should have done ages ago. I don't know why I kept it on for so long. So I just took that off, and because unfortunately for the parking brake there's a cable that runs, this cable here that runs underneath here. So I'm going to have to disconnect that to be able to take that brake caliper off, to take the rotor off. So I'm going to have to take off this metal cover to see where it leads. Alright, so I tried to remove the brake cable through here and I loosened it, but can't access it. And I looked inside and tried to access it through the air conditioning, but the only way to remove this is to remove the dashboard, I believe. So unfortunately I can't remove the cable, so I'm gonna have to try to remove it from this side now. So loosen all this and then pull it out this way so I can get this disc replaced. So the job's been a lot harder than I was hoping it was going to be. Alright, so I finally figured it out. It's the brake cable and it's off now, and I just took it off from that side and it was actually not too difficult. So now I finally got everything off, the brake discs and the parking brake calipers as well, and now I'm just have to clean up all this mess, and then I'm gonna degrease this and water blast the entire area, and give it a nice clean. So yep, so after that job I'm going to be replacing the water pump gasket because it was leaking, but the water pump isn't that old. And there's also a carb leak, so that carb has to come off, and I'll have to have a look at where the leak is. It's on the base, I think. I've had this trouble in the past with this carburetor, and that fuel line has to be set up in a better place. I failed the warrant last time for that. Also, I'm going to be cleaning up some surface rust parts, like this for example, and possibly might do the stairs, but they're a bit hard to get off. And also the small amount of rust that I'm going to be fixing in the front here. So I'm going to be repainting this the support beam as well. Yeah, lots of work left to do.